Welcome to Amplify Your Mindset with Ricky Kalmon. Motivational speaker, mindset expert, and celebrity hypnotist Ricky Kalmon has amazed audiences around the world. Kalmon empowers his audience with simple but powerful techniques to boost confidence and belief toward their goals and to exceed their own personal and professional expectations. Each episode features business leaders, motivators, and incredible individuals who share how mindset has contributed to their success. Put awareness and action into your life with the confidence that you'll succeed at the things you want to make happen. Here is Ricky Kalmon.
Hi, this is Ricky Kalmon, and welcome to another episode of Amplify Your Mindset. Today's guest is Marcus djWHEAT Graham. Marcus is the director of Twitch Studios and oversees all Twitch original owned and operated properties. But Marcus himself is known throughout the world, globally recognized as a game commentator and internet personality. As a player, producer, broadcaster, Marcus has over 19 years of experience in competitive gaming industry and is known for offering a very unique mix of entertainment, education, and history when working. Marcus, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Ricky.
Great. I'm glad to have you on. You're in a very unique industry. I'm going to let you tell everybody more about Twitch because Twitch has a huge, broad, global market. But I'm going to let you do it right by telling us more about who Twitch is and what they do.
Yeah, sure. So Twitch is a subsidiary of Amazon. We were acquired in 2014. And what I think Twitch is in the simplest form is a destination for a generation who is consuming content in a different way and are looking for engaging communities to become a part of, right? As we grow up and as we live in a more virtual world than we ever have before, what we're seeing especially is that the younger generation tends to maybe turn off that television and go to the computer or go to the internet in order for forms of entertainment. And Twitch is a platform in which any broadcaster can create their own content and share it with people from around the world. So it's a video streaming service, mostly focused towards games and gamers. But as you mentioned, Ricky, it's kind of exploded. It's no longer just about video games. Now it's about sharing your travels to Japan or cooking with friends or, the incredible artists that we now see. Of course, you're going to find lots of video gaming, both professional and both just for fun. But I think at its core, Ricky, it's really just about community and having a place to come together and share interests and passions with one another in a unique way.
As a layman watching it, it's the ultimate of interactive video. And like you said, there are people out there playing these games by themselves, but then you have an audience watching this, commenting, and there's literally a scrolling conversation, which is mind blowing to me because somebody's playing a game and then they're actually at the same time multitasking and watching the comments and making comments back to those people, and they have immediate response with their audience, which is, again, a very unique platform.
It really is. Yeah.
How many users right now are on Twitch?
So 15 million daily active users right now are tuning in to watch or create their own content. So quite a few. Yeah. And to that point, there's a 250,000 partners. So those are individuals who are actually making money doing this streaming or building these communities or sharing their passions with others. And that to us is also really awesome because essentially in one way, shape, or form, Twitch has also been kind of a source of a sort of new job, an influencer, if you will, in the gaming world. So, that aspect of it has been really neat to see unfold as well.
How did you get started?
Oh, wow. Ricky, I think at the core, I got started just because when I was younger, I definitely had a huge affinity for video games. I might have been labeled as that kid who, would have spent every afternoon in the arcade, who tried to play every game that he possibly could. And, I was born in 77. So this was like the era of the Atari kind of hitting, and then the Nintendo. That's kind of the dawn of video games in a lot of ways. Like, sure, we had the arcades and we had pinball leading up to that. But once things got into the home, that's really when we started seeing this sort of shift towards the era that we're in now. And, frankly, just being a big fan of video games, the other thing growing up that I became a really big fan of was AM radio. And for whatever reason, that was one of the things that my family shared together, whether it was car rides, whether it was that, winding down for the night. AM radio just sort of became this huge part of my life. So I kind of got in this weird, pattern of like, oh, well, how could I take my love of video games and my love of AM radio and put them together? And so I started video game shows, and I got into the competitive side of video gaming. And this, of course, was back, Ricky, when there was no video, right? It was in the dawn of the internet. The only way that we were doing it was just like traditional radio, except it was digital. So, I got involved heavily with the internet radio side of things, and one thing led to another. And as you can imagine, as technology continues to expand and improve and evolve, then video came around. And, I guess I just had such a handle in the live world that I was able to kind of keep that going and build kind of my own love and passion into sort of the world of broadcasting. And that's, of course, obviously what led me to Twitch.
Which is kind of fascinating to me. I mean, you took something that you like doing as can I say it's a hobby at first? I mean, it's...
Oh, it absolutely was a hobby at first, yeah.
And then you added a whole nother realm to it by, the entertainment side. Your personality. I mean, that's what's fascinating about what you do. You love the competitiveness of a game, and it shows when you're playing. I've seen your videos. I mean, I've seen stuff online. It's pretty cool. But you've now created this platform of being a personality in the industry, and people really, you've created a brand, who you are.
Yeah, and I mean, Ricky, it's actually, I think for a lot of people, they might say, well, that's weird to have a personality in gaming or a personality in esports or competitive sports. But really, I think if you look at Twitch as any other form of media, it's driven by personalities, as most entertainment is. I think what really makes it unique versus, say, a television personality, a radio personality, a sports personality, is that there's kind of a very unique type of access that people get to that personality. You mentioned that. Like, I could go live tonight and play games, and I could be instantly interacting with 1,000 people. And they could be asking me questions. How did your day go today? Did you get a chance to play the new Spider-Man game? And it's so unique that we have an entertainment medium that allows this almost instant, dare I say, intimate interaction between people in a virtual sense. And to me, that is what is the most fascinating. And that is something that just drives me and gets me really excited. It almost gives me goosebumps a little bit because, similar to all forms of entertainment, you look at like television, and sure, you reach a massive audience, but there's a piece of glass, right, that separates me from the entertainer, and I don't necessarily have any way to interact with that person. If you think about, well, what's the closest thing to what Twitch recreates, it's a bit more than like to what you do, right, which is performing to a theater of 1,000 people or several thousand people. That is a much more intimate experience than if I'm watching something through a television show. So I think that Twitch imagine if Twitch is just like a giant theater, but instead of us being in our physical bodies, we're kind of more in our, mental virtual bodies, if you will. But that lends itself to sort of a stronger connection between the personality and the people who are creating the content. So when you go on Twitch, you're actually just going to see lots of personalities that connect really well with their communities. And I think that is also one of the cool things about this whole industry that we work in. Well,
you've gone above and beyond. I mean, nowadays you can call in and vote for somebody, literally,
Yep.
Off your remote control now, in some, whether it's cable or these different programs. But you guys, you're getting an immediate reaction from the celebrity itself, which to me I think is absolutely fascinating. I mean, it really is this interaction back and forth.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, it's not surprising that, especially in the world of the internet, that we want more interactive experiences. They're more fun to share if we're in person. They're more fun to share if we're online. So it makes a lot of sense that the entertainment industry as a whole is all trying to create and facilitate these sort of interactions and engagements that weren't necessarily there before.
Where do you see it trending? I mean, where do you see what's the vision from here?
I mean, Ricky, I almost think that this whole idea of interacting on an almost real-time level is just kind of scraping the surface. There's new technology now that's available. One of my favorite things is something that's called extensions on Twitch. And what that is it's sort of like more interactive controls that can lay directly over the video. So, let's say, for example, you did say maybe we're playing a Dungeons and Dragons game online together, and the users who are watching could vote on, whether a wildebeest should attack them or a beholder should attack them. These are, as the audience, it's really exciting to be a piece of crafting that content. So for me, I think the interaction is there's still so much that can blow up in that regard. And I think that's really where the future is. I'm sure we could have 4K streaming video and get better quality, but that's all natural technology progressions we're going to see. Where it's really exciting is like, how is an audience and how is an entertainer connecting on a more intimate level through a platform like Twitch?
Well, it's a good question that you just kind of brought up. What is the audience looking for? What's the next step? I mean, you guys are very interactive with the audience. You're looking for the feedback. You're getting immediate feedback from them.
I think I think one of the things, if you take a step back, Ricky, that's really interesting, and obviously Twitch demographic tends to, start a little bit younger. Of course, it really has no limit, right? I have talked with many individuals from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70 range, all different age groups that use Twitch. But if you look at the core of the audience, I think what you see is a natural generation shift that is happening because of technology. The idea, and I have a 13-year-old son, and it's been fascinating to watch sort of how he consumes media and how he's looking for entertainment. We live in a world where there is a lot of stuff that is available at our fingertips. But what's not necessarily always available is an online or a social experience where you really feel like you belong. Mm-hmm. We've all, as human beings, all been looking for, levels of belonging and community since the beginning of time. And I think that in a lot of ways, this digital content and the way that the audience interacts, it's really more about finding a group of people that share your similar passions, your similar excitement, and really a sense that they belong. And that's how you build these amazing sort of friendships and companionships online with the audiences that are visiting your channel and are watching your content over and over and over again. And, I think about this a lot too, because I think about even when I was younger and when I was sort of looking for places to belong and find other people that loved video games, and that wasn't always easy. So in a lot of ways, I'm almost jealous of this sort of platform for discovering that passion and finding a place where you really belong, because that is, in this day and age, especially in the virtual worlds that we live in, can be a little bit more difficult. So I think that audience is underneath it all. They want to be entertained, obviously, but I think they also just want to find a place where, hey, I'm with people that share similar passions. I'm in a safe space. I'm in a place where I belong.
Well, that's very unique, because on a business aspect, for the listeners that are out there that are the sales individuals, the entrepreneurs, the CEOs of companies that might listen to this program, this isn't just about talking about a gaming platform or watching, entertainment factor. There's a business lesson to be led there, and that is, you guys know your audience. and you're constantly evolving to your audience and having that ability to take that information and what you do with it. And there are companies that do that, but once you do it, how often do you do it? I mean, I've heard people say, well, listen, we got the information. This is great. We're going to store it. We're going to hold on to it. This is good. This is going to be our library. It's going to be our bank. Yeah. But that information changes constantly. And what you guys do with it, now it's really, really important. And I think that, you guys have something that's called Twitchcon, and everybody gets together. That's where the community, and like you said, it's a place of belonging. It's not just about seeing some of their favorite, if you will, celebrity players, but it's interaction.
That is exactly right. In fact, Twitchcon is very much representative of almost a real life version of the site come to life. It's definitely something I see. But, to speak to your point about business, which I think is a great point, Ricky, knowing your audience is one of the reasons I would put very high on the list for why Twitch was successful. It was built and founded by people who were just exactly the same as the audience. We were people who loved gaming. We were people that loved competition. We were people that loved gathering around the things that we loved. And so at the end of the day, a lot of times we were building for ourselves. And in that we were, also learning more and more about what the community wanted and maybe even what we wanted. Right. But to your point, it is constantly evolving. I don't think that you can ever sit by and be okay saying, great, we got the spreadsheets back. We've got the data. 64% of our audience is this, and that's what we should focus on for the next 5 years. I think if we would have done that, we would have missed out on some really phenomenal opportunities, because a lot of times, especially when you're building something new, opportunity can come in the strangest ways, and you're healthier being able to pivot and being able to, obviously you want to be proactive, but the more reactive you can be with your audience, the better you're going to be. And I think that in its earliest years, Twitch was capable of being very reactive, noticing trends that were happening in the world, developing a voice that spoke appropriately to those audiences, et cetera. But it's a job that never ends, Ricky. You always are learning about what your audience is, how it's evolving, and how you should sort of shape it and approach it.
And the backfire is your audience is going to let you know. I mean, they're going to let you know. If you don't listen, they're going to let you know very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's both a blessing and a curse, I think, in some ways, because, as the nature of Twitch, it is very much real-time feedback. When you create that sort of environment on the platform, you almost have to accept the fact that that is a behavior of your users that you're going to have to get used to. But at the end of the day, honestly, I think from a business perspective, that is better than trying to pry it out of them, right? We certainly know when we announce something, we know if it is going to be a hit or if it's going to be a miss. And oftentimes we know our audience so well that we can almost predict what that response might be. So yeah, it is very much that instant feedback. It's great, but it also can be very daunting because it's like, wow, we just got nailed with a bunch of feedback. It's always helps us better the Twitch for everyone that uses it, though.
That's fascinating. I mean, it really is, because when you guys started, how many people were on the platform on an average?
Oh, geez. I mean, there was a time when I remember we were celebrating like 10,000. Daily average users, and I mean, you're talking about for almost a year, an office that went from about 15 people to 21 people, kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit. But yeah, there was a lot of rapid growth, especially in like 2009 to 2012.
And I'm going to remind those listeners, 15 million active users
daily.
Yeah. That's unbelievable, because you think about the average broadcast of a cable network show or anything like that in that realm of radio. I mean, you're surpassing that beyond expectations.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating to watch, Ricky, right? I mean, again, coming back to you can't really predict a lot of things that happen. A great example is that I'm sure many people, all the listeners, have heard of a little game called Fortnite recently. Fortnite has certainly been making this giant explosion here in the U.S. It's played by people of all ages. It's incredibly popular. And just as a result of the popularity of this game, we've seen anywhere from 5 to 10 broadcasters who a year ago may have been considered very small and are now bringing in audiences of 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 viewers every single time that they go live. And to your point, yes, that is massive to consistently day over day have, say, 100,000 viewers interacting, watching, following along, being a part of that community. We couldn't have predicted that Fortnite was going to come out and be huge. So also going back to your, the idea of pivoting and being able to kind of be reactive, that's a great example, because today a game could come out and the next superstar could emerge from that game. It's just very fascinating how it all works.
And the audience is unlimited. I mean, truly unlimited. So Twitch is free itself to go on the platform and watch something.
Correct.
But now let's talk about the money for a second. How these players sitting at home are doing very well.
Yeah, so I think really early on in Twitch's life, as you realize, there's a platform that is driven by its creators, right? Obviously, the viewers are needed for the creators to be playing, but if the creators weren't there, there would be nothing for the viewers to watch. And
right.
Initially, early on, as many websites are, ads were what kind of drove the business. But very, very early in Twitch's life, this is the 2010 to 2011, a realization was sort of made, and I think we all knew this, but it was a question of, well, how do we make it happen? And that is, how do you create a self-sustaining ecosystem that would allow someone to actually make this their job? Maybe back in 2010 and 2011, and it was still very much a hobby, but there had to be a stepping stone to take it to that next level. So we released a product called the subscription product. And it's pretty basic. It would be not much different than, say, a Netflix subscription or a Hulu subscription. However, it's on a individual creator level. So, for example, let's take a very, very popular streamer right now. His name is Ninja. He plays Fortnite. Ninja, I can go and I can subscribe to Ninja. And as a subscriber to his channel, that would give me several benefits. So, for example, I can speak when the channel's in subscriber mode, which is most of the time. Maybe I get all the access to all the special emotes that I can use in Ninja's channel. Maybe I get the access to be able to play a game with Ninja, or join in a raffle for a computer that he's giving away. Or it's really sort of a way to kind of belong to the community without you don't need to pay to belong, but it's a way to support that creator, as well as wearing a badge of honor that says, hey, I support Ninja. The subscription product has been incredibly successful, and way more successful than I think we ever realized it could be. And that ultimately came down to the audience wanting to support their favorite creators. There's obviously more ways that they do that, but the subscription piece is a huge part of that. The sort of tail end of that story is when we were acquired by Amazon, immediately everyone started thinking about, wow, what would Twitch Prime look like, right? And that has been one of the biggest advantages towards the subscribers and the creators on the site, because as a member of Amazon Prime, when you connect your Twitch Prime, you get a free sub every month. So, where before you had to maybe say pay $5 or $4.99 in order to subscribe to a channel, just by being that subscriber now, or if you already have Twitch Prime, you kind of get access to a free sub every month that allows you to kind of check out different creators and whatnot. But the end of the story, Ricky, is that we now have thousands of creators that do this as a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like, sure, they also do speaking appearances, or maybe they go and play in tournaments, etc. But the main source of their income is them streaming on Twitch, 4 or 5 days a week, and what they're doing to build their community.
Did you ever think it would ever grow to where it is now?
You know what, Ricky? It's hard. It's weird to say yes, because I don't want to feel like the soothsayer who just saw this all. But I even earlier, when I was talking about the audio days and how I got involved, the biggest difference between AM radio and the audio that I was doing online was the idea that in radio, unless someone called into my show, it was hard for me to, say, communicate with an audience member. But online, as we mentioned, when someone can type something, that was a great question. Oh, can you ask this question, please? I'm really curious about this. It really turns into this amazing way to craft a new style of content. Mm-hmm. And once I experienced that for the first time, Ricky, I said to myself, this is the future, right? Like, this to me is the best way to create content, to consume content, to build these giant, massive online audiences. So back in 1999, when I started doing that, I think even back then I thought, I'm going to keep doing this. It's gonna, this is going to eventually be a massive part of the world of the internet. And to that point, even when YouTube rolled around in 2004 and I had a big opportunity to start creating content on YouTube, I tried it for a little while and it just didn't do it for me, because I got so used to creating content and having that instant feedback loop,
right,
that it almost seemed like it was wrong what I was doing. And so for that reason, I stayed with live. And that's, why I'm at a place like Twitch and not necessarily at a place where it's just like a place to upload your content, because I love that live element of everything that's happening. So, it is crazy to think 15 million people are visiting the website every day. I don't know that I ever could predict that, but I definitely felt like the live element of this type of content was going to be the future.
I love the fact that you actually said, this is not for me, and mine's telling me to go where my passion is. And I'm not trying to be cliche here, but that's what I love about this interview, is that you had a vision and you didn't detour from it, and didn't try something with the idea of, well, I don't know. I mean, this is something you've always wanted to do. It sounds like it.
Yeah. And, to kind of go back to the idea of mindset, I believed in it so much. It was a hobby to start, but to me, it was so fun. What I was doing felt so meaningful. It was incredible to connect with people and to create these relationships that previously hadn't existed. And I think just that excitement of making a new type of content is what drove me day after day and event after event, because I did this for a solid 12, 13 years before I finally saw any sort of a paycheck. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, well, like, wow, why would you ever do that? And it's like, well, when you find things that you love, it becomes less about grinding and being a job, and more just about, again, doing what you love. And I think that's sort of a job, a hobby, that is something we all kind of aspire to work towards. But that's what this represented for me. It was something I loved so much. I just couldn't imagine a life without it. The fact that it has turned into a business, the fact that it's turned into a career, to me, that's amazing. I'm so happy. But, at the same time, I feel like if it still wasn't, and if we were still, in the dark ages of 10 years ago and trying to create awareness and make gaming a thing, I'd still be here. I would still be fighting the good fight, just because I love it so much.
And you haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, if you look at it that way, there's so much more. Where you guys have come, where you're going with it, what you're going to do in your career, and the possibilities are unlimited. Again, not to be cliche, but it's so true. I mean, I think if you put yourself in a box and say, this is amazing. I just don't think we can do any more than this. Then you're just going to stay exactly where you are. Obviously you guys aren't. Every year you surpass expectations, and it's just absolutely fascinating platform. I highly recommend anybody listening, check this out. Even if you're saying, well, I'm just not into that, I'm not a gamer, I think you're going to be fascinated with the business aspect of it, the mentality, the mindset of people, and it will intrigue you and pull you in even more, and you will learn from it.
I can't agree more. And actually, I want to leave you with one last piece. So the other day, just to show you that there's something here for just about everyone on the platform. So the other day, and one of the things I love to do is just find new content. The other day I tuned in, and what I saw was an individual in a tractor, and they had a 3-camera setup, and they were simply tilling and harvesting crops. They were just harvesting corn, and I was shocked because I'm like, here's someone who just loves farming, right? And now has a way to teach people about farming. People are asking questions like, is this tractor hard to drive? Do you have to have a license for it? Like, I learned something new. But then it blew my mind when he was like, oh yeah, by the way, we're running 2 tractors on the field, and I can press this button and you can see what's going on in the other tractor. And I've never seen a live stream of a farm, harvest happen on Twitch. And it just goes to show, I watch people travel to Japan, cook amazing meals, farm now. I'm glad that you said, yeah, there's a lot of gaming on there. But when you look a little bit deeper, there is just the most amazing suite of content available.
I hate to keep saying it's mind blowing. It truly is. And for those people that I'll even mention, hey, by the way, have you ever heard of Twitch? They're like, what's that? I go, well, I'm not going to do it justice. Here's the website. Go check this out. I highly recommend it. Marcus, thanks for being a friend. Thanks for taking some time out, because I know your time is extremely valuable. I appreciate the insight. I appreciate the background. And I can't wait till we have another conversation of something new and exciting that you guys are doing. And I'm going to hold you to it. I definitely want to jump into that and hear more in the future.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Thanks again.
You have been listening to Amplify Your Mindset with Ricky Kalmon. For more information on Ricky Kalmon's corporate and personal development programs, visit rickykalmon.com.